finance, but also the potential partnerships and how this works across the different business lines. We have a question on corporate banking, for instance. So the floor is yours, and if you could please further introduce yourself. Fantastic.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Dieuwertje de Rover. I'm heading the Banking as a Service department within Rabobank. That means I'm responsible for the distribution channel of embedded services, so distributing the APIs basically. I do not have a presentation. If you're looking for that, that's correct.
Former presentation.
And next to building and maintaining the distribution channel within Rabobank, I'm also responsible for driving the needed change to really fill our shop with relevant embedded services. So transforming Rabobank basically to adjust to the new world of open finance. As you can see, I'm not alone today. I'm over 34 weeks pregnant. So I do keep my speaker notes with me because my memory is sometimes not as optimal anymore as it used to be. But now I can blame her. So. And I decided to do it a little bit different today since we also have a panel afterwards. So I'm going to pitch you 3 ideas basically. So first of all, I would like to trigger your thinking and trigger a discussion within the financial sector on what embedded finance is actually going to mean. So where are we heading to? What do we believe this is, how this is going to affect the financial sector? And then secondly, I would like to explore how those beliefs affect our strategies within our companies and our innovation strategies. And lastly, if you walk away, I would like to give you at least one advice how to ensure you are successful within your organization with regards to embedded finance. But let's start with exploring our beliefs. By raising hands, can you raise your hand if you do believe that the embedded finance trend is basically driven by regulatory change and has limited effect on the financial sector? You can show hands if you believe it. Nice. I think that's different than a couple of years ago. Then secondly, you can raise your hand if you believe that embedded finance is mostly about a change in distribution channel, specifically for larger institutions. Nice, nice. You can raise your hand more times, so it's not that you have to wait for the perfect answer. Raise your hand if you do believe there will be a lot of new revenue streams, business models, and innovations because of embedded finance. Cool, nice. And do you also believe this is mostly at the cost of banks? Nice. That's nice. Raise your hand if you do believe embedded finance will be a fundamental shift for the financial sector eventually. Nice, nice. I think we can have a nice discussion together. And you can raise your hand if you say all of the above. But since no one said regulatory change, then that couldn't be the case anymore. My personal belief is that it will be a fundamental shift for the financial sector eventually. And why do they think this? For a couple of reasons. First of all, if you look at PSD1, the regulatory change over 10 years ago, and what has changed since then for the payments acceptance business, that has been huge. I'm not sure where Paul is, but Molly is here present today, and they really understood at that time how they could improve customer services, how they could enable SMEs to accept payments, and how they could make our life easier to pay online, basically, or mostly. So that has been a huge shift from PSD1. Then secondly, if you look at PSD2, we expected that banks were actually afraid that would trigger a huge change in the financial sector. And that didn't happen in the short term, but I do think now, close to 10 years later, or 7, 8 years later, you see the effects of it. You see aggregators rise and they get billion-dollar valuations. You see players like Rabobank offering the Rabo embedded services proposition, and you see a new type of competitors arise, PSPs, neobanks, fintechs, and that leverage the embedded finance opportunity. And thirdly, why I do believe this will be a fundamental shift is because there is a mix now going on of all those different elements. You will see new regulation popping up, PSR, PSD3, which is not a revolution, but at least it will evolve the PSD2 regulation. You see FIDA coming up, opening up more financial institutions to share data. So that's from a regulatory perspective. Next to that, you see all type of models starting to rise, also shared by Serena, from a banking perspective, from insurances, but also from aggregators and neobanks. And they really look for new business models and start to serve customers in a different way. And you see higher customer demands or changing customer expectations. Well, we all are used to using Spotify. If you want to listen to a song, you just look for the song, you press the button, and you listen to the song. If you want to order food, you open your app and you order your food. And most of the time it's there almost immediately, except for Sunday evenings. So those customer expectations will rise and rise. And the combination of regulation, new competitors, banks acting in its customer expectation, enabled by technology, I do believe will fundamentally shift how we serve customers. Not now, not tomorrow, but eventually. So I think if we come back 2030, 2035, on a Tuesday afternoon here in Amsterdam, and we look back on the past 25 years, I think we will be surprised by what has been changed within the financial sector. Then, lastly, then why I do think it's important to think about our beliefs about embedded finance, because that defines our strategies within our company. And if I have learned one thing, trying to transform Rabobank and educating Rabobank and preparing Rabobank for the world of open finance, I've seen that it's aligning the beliefs about embedded finance is crucial for your strategy and for your change. So if I can give you one advice, if you go back today and you go back to your company and you want to work on embedded finance, ensure that you are aligned internally. If you work in a risk department, you look completely different at working together with partners than if you work, for example, at commerce. If you work in commerce, you see, well, the high numbers are still coming from our direct channel, and the new channel, it's just small. If you're the CEO of a larger institution, you might be busy with KYC, regulation, different topics than maybe this new channel. And if you're heading an embedded service department, you're a true believer of embedded services, and you can't understand why no one else is looking at it in a similar way. So if you go back and you want to develop your strategy, ensure that you align the whys within your organization. And lastly, what I almost forgot is why, or what I've seen within the sector, within companies, on how this affects our strategies. Well, if you're a believer of regulation or embedded finance driven by regulation, then you of course choose to develop the necessary APIs and leave it at that. If you believe that it's rather a shift in distribution channel, you invest in building this distribution channel, but only serve or only distribute existing products and services. If you believe it's a new revenue stream, you highly invest in it and really explore the opportunity and try to find the golden egg, but maybe next to your organization or with a partner. And if you believe, like me, that it's a fundamental shift, you try to change the organization from the inside out. And that's what we have done at Rabobank. We aim to really change from the inside out by ensuring that product development and product innovation with regards to embedded services happens at the product teams. So they learn to explore what it means, they learn how to develop APIs, and they eventually adopt to this new world. And thereby trying to, really change from the inside out and prepare Rabobank for open finance. Whatever you believe, and however you align your beliefs within your organization, or whatever strategy you choose that is relevant for your reality, for your organization, I think we can all agree we have to get into action. And that's something we should definitely do.
Thank you, Dieuwertje. Both of you. Are there any questions for Dieuwertje? I see one question already. Let me get you the mic so that we can hear you.
Dieuwertje, my name is Vito from Dieuwertje with a short history at Rabobank. I can see that transactions are embedded, that retail is embedded. How much of relationships can be embedded?
Excellent question. Definitely not everything. That's at least what we as Rabobank believe, not everything. So within Rabobank we have chosen to digitize and optimize customer service for the convenience of customers to the extent possible, but also be there if you want to have a relationship or to want to have human contact. I don't think that can be replaced in the short term. However, I wouldn't be surprised if 10, 15 years from now, even a mortgage application or larger loans are completely digitized and really, leaving out the human interaction. That's not Rabobank's strategy at this point in time, definitely not. But I wouldn't be surprised if the sector will go into that direction. You say it will happen?
Yeah, because this is driven by the consumer, who is more and more demanding online now and right away.
Yeah.
So we are going already to this direction. We are already looking to ways to make our KYC control more efficient with less resources.
Yeah, definitely the new generation that will get used to it.
Is that a relationship with the customer or with a relationship with the collateral?
Both, yes. Both are important.
That's a good question.
Any other questions for Dieuwertje?
Okay, Mike. So, who have a question on embedded finance? I saw how everybody raised hands non-stop. It was lovely, actually. I like it a lot. And so, anybody have question? Oh, it's no questions anymore. No questions, I see.
Okay, thank you, Dieuwertje.